battle of two Cumbrian heavyweights. We're at the recreation ground for Whitehaven against the reigning champions, Barrow Raiders. Now, Whitehaven have a great record at home against Barrow, but can they keep it going? Terry O'Connor, Brian Carney and Bill Arthur are in Whitehaven.
Where just 24 hours ago this game looked as though it was in doubt because heavy snowfall in Cumbria and still snow on the mountains on the way here today. But this was the pitch. Photographs taken by the general manager Nigel Beattie. It didn't get a lot better today. The fire brigade came to help with the pumping of the water away, and the groundsmen Tommy Johnson and Howard Robinson have been hard at work getting this pitch playable. There are still areas that are waterlogged, and in fact that corner that they're working on there still has water standing on it. So it's going to be another muddy night of Championship Rugby League here on Sky Sports. But it's going to be a keenly contested match as ever between these two Cumbrian rivals. And Whitehaven have Ian Mort on loan from Leeds Centurions at fullback. Then it's Craig Calvert, Rob Jackson, Scott McAvoy, Derry Eelbeck, Carl Rudd, who became a father for the third time this morning. 4:30 this morning, his wife Helen gave birth to son Luca. Carl is fit to play and able to play, keen to play, alongside Greg McNally, back at the club, a dual-registered player with the Huddersfield Giants. In the forwards, Richard Farrer, Graham Matheson, Kyle Amor returns from the Leeds Rhinos, where he's also dual-registered. Howard Hill, Spencer Miller and the captain Leroy Joe. And on the bench, Mark Jackson, Mick Gobbin, Reece Fox and Andy Gorski. The coach is Jed Stokes. Now the Barrow Raiders, fresh from an emphatic victory over Toulouse last time out, have Gary Broadbent at fullback. Then it's Andy Ballard, Anthony Blackwood, Liam Harrison, Jermaine McGilvray, Jamie Rooney and James Coyle. Andy Braycheck starts in the forwards because Rob Roberts is unfit and unable to play. One of four forwards missing for the Raiders. Andrew Henderson, Brett McDermott, Martin Osler, Matt James and Zeb Luisi. And on the bench, Michael Knowles, Paul Noon, Liam Campbell and Chris Larkin, who comes into the 17 for the coach, Steve McCormack. Well, Gary Broadbent leading out the Barrow Raiders side onto the field. They'll be relieved to have got their first championship win of the season under their belts, but who will be the pride of Cumbria this evening? As far as Whitehaven and Barrow are concerned, that's what's at stake here tonight. And Broadbent, a former Whitehaven man, of course, up against his former club, who are led out by Leroy Joe. There's Kyle Amor just behind him in the home lineup, and Haven glad to have him back. As I said, he's dual registered with the Rhinos and not required for their game this evening, so able to play tonight, as is Greg McNally, made available by Huddersfield. So Haven strengthened, but looking for their first win of the campaign, or their second win of the campaign. Meanwhile, before the game kicks off, a minute's silence is to be held for a former supporter and keen sponsor of the side, of the Whitehaven side, Terry Palmer, former Works director of the local Albright and Wilson company, and a long-term sponsor of Haven, and very much involved in the local community for the Whitehaven Harbours Commissioners and the Cumbria Business Trust. And he died recently in hospital after a long illness at the age of 71. Robert Hicks, the referee this evening, and the minute silence for Terry Palmer, former supporter, sponsor of this Whitehaven club, impeccably observed. And Whitehaven really do have a bit of repair work to do after their defeat, heavy defeat at Featherstone in their last game. 98 points conceded in the last two games by Haven. Jed Stokes really has read the riot act to his Haven side, as I said, boosted by the return of McNally and Amor, but up against a Barrow Raiders side that just seems to have clicked into form, Terry.
Bill, in games like this, form goes out the window. In all derby games, the key to games, you've got to say, is who wants to defend. Everyone wants the ball, everyone wants to go forward, but you've got to get your hands dirty. You get an opportunity. This Barrow side, they had 32 points. They scored 32 points in the second half last week. Whitehaven, on the other hand, conceded 32 points. They've got to start the games stronger.
Well, it is Haven in possession at the moment with their captain Leroy Joe, and they'll be kicking towards that end of the field that is the wettest and the soggiest, and where the ball will no doubt just stop on the ground, because there are great still puddles of water down there in the in-goal area that the Barrow Raiders are defending. And it's really going to be hard work getting the ball out of that end of the field, and I suspect that that's going to be a major tactical ploy. There you can see that end of the field. That's the railway end of the ground here at the recreation ground.
And Whitehaven will really want to make this game as physical as they can. There's about 4 players missing for Barrow. There are only 2 of them that were missing from last week. Matt James, a real big signing from the Quinn side. See what steel he can add to the Barrow side.
There is Brett McDermott. Yeah, Matt James, recruited from Harlequins, having decided that he wanted to move back north, and he got his wish. Coyle now. Coyle puts the kick in, gets the ricochet, almost gets the ricochet, and Robert Hicks says there was a knock on there. And it's going to be Barrow's head and feet at the scrum.
Well, James Coyle, he took the ball to line, he had a little look up. There was no teammate in support, so he tried to stick the ball through, just ricocheted forward, and Barrow now get the head and feed, attacking 40 yards from Whitehaven's line.
Here is Jamie Rooney and Liam Harrison now, and Harrison always strong and hard to stop, hard to put down. And there's the first sounding of the hunting horn from the Kells end behind those Whitehaven players. Jake Rudd blowing his horn for all he's worth there. He's been on the terraces, watching from those terraces since the age of 9, and sounding that hunting horn just like his grandfather did. And they'll be delighted with that. Knock on by McDermott.
You can see Leroy Joe, he just had his hand in there. Big Brett McDermott, the enforcer of this Barrow side. He's stuck into the collision, he's just lost it. Leroy Joe, hands in, maybe unfairly, but you've got to make sure you control the ball.
So Whitehaven have the ball in hand at last after Barrow had possession early on. First couple of minutes here. Haven defending a very good home record at the moment. They won the last 6 at home at the end of last season, and having beaten Toulouse at home already this campaign, they're looking for an 8th straight home win. Here is Kyle Amor, and Amor, the one-handed offload, not a good one. Barrow Raiders have it back. The idea was good, but nobody was on the same wavelength.
And you know what, Bill, he was practicing that before the game in the warm-up, and it's a bit of a worry when somebody's going in with the mentality that I'm going to offload at every opportunity. He's got to pick his offloads.
Well, he picked the wrong time or the wrong person there.
Quicken it up, Whitehaven! Listen to the move!
Braycheck now. Bouncing off the first and getting away from the second as well. And a good ball from Braycheck, but just a tad forward. Matt James took the pass, but it was forward. Good work from Braycheck, and his teammates appreciating that.
Well, Braycheck was really strong in the tackle. You can see that Matt James just overruns it. Probably the confidence that Braycheck got, he bounced off a couple of tackles. You can see that goes forward to James.
Get your head in! Bowling, Greg.
This Barrow pack missing not just Rob Roberts, who we mentioned earlier on, but Ned Kattick, Richard Fletcher, and the most recent withdrawal, Chris Young. So Steve McCormack just having to reshuffle things on his return to this Whitehaven club, where he was a big favourite for his exploits, getting them to 2 National League One grand finals in 2004 and 2005, when he won the National League One Coach of the Year, in actual fact. Haven over the halfway line for the first time in the opening 5 minutes or so. And the crowd appealing for offside and appealing successfully.
For a team that's conceded so many points in the last few games, this is going to be an encouraging start. They've given the ball away a couple of times, but got it back. Were awarded a penalty there. Now they've got a great attacking opportunity. This is a lot better for a team that this is a lot better, I should say, for a team that's been conceding so many points in their recent games.
Go on, they shout as Howard Hill rumbles onto that ball and is then brought down a few metres away from the try line. Now here's Carl Amor, just took that one standing still. Couldn't really make much progress. Rudd stopped in his tracks as he was heading across the field. So they've lost ground there. Good defence so far. Here's Graham Mattinson now. Mattinson again trying for the line, and once more the Barrow Raiders are there to meet him. The hooker is held just short. Rudd now. Rudd will just step a little kick in. It's a good one. McNally was chasing it, and it's still not dead. It is now. It was grounded eventually by Broadbent, but after a little bit of dithering.
Absolutely, the post has helped them out no end. It's got in the way of a receiver coming in. I reckon you could have looked at a try there if that post hadn't been there.
You're right, Brian. I think he was disappointed with that kick. He was looking, McNally was pushing up. If that post wasn't there, the try was definitely on for this Whitehaven side.
Jed Stokes encouraged by that start from his team then, putting a bit of pressure on the Raiders, who lost the last time that they were here. That was, mind you, only 4 days after they'd been beaten in the Northern Rail Cup final last year. They then had to come up here and play 4 days later. And they lost that one 28 points to 4. So a bit of a score to settle and a wretched record here for Barrow Raiders in recent history, as Eddie was saying at the top of the programme. It's the one win in 30 years. Amor again, seen lots of ball early on. Here's Carl Rudd. Short ball for Howard Hill. He's brought down. Rudd for McNally now. McNally. Good hands from the Barrow Raiders, but they're approaching the quagmire. That is the quagmire. As you can see, the ball just slurping through the mud. Little kick ahead. Oh, wonderfully done. And Rudd is on the follow-up to get the ball as it ricocheted off the post. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Rudd's kick in the first place hit that post and ricocheted away. This time it was Rudd who was there to catch the ricochet and score the opening try of this game, to get his second try of the season. And what a day already it's been. A dad at 4:30 this morning, a try this evening.
You can already see the way Whitehaven are playing again. McNally again aiming for those sticks. You can see Rudd just anticipates where that ball's going to go. It bounces off the sticks and he goes in for the try.
Well, it was the other way round for the previous attempt. It was Rudd's kick that McNally almost got on the end of, but McNally returned the compliment and Rudd was able to finish it off. And now, relatively simple conversion attempt to extend this early lead that will have lifted Whitehaven's spirits. Bangs it away over the terracing into the undergrowth, and Whitehaven have the lead they wanted by 6 points to 0. Rudd, the try scorer and the goal kicker.
All resulting, this try as we see it scored here, nice little kick, all resulting from the previous set where they forced a drop out, repeat set, keep the defence under pressure. The best way a team that's been under pressure for the last few weeks could start. Get the ball down the other end of the field, stay away from your own try line, and you got a chance.
He's had about 2 hours sleep since the big event this morning.
That'll be a lot, that, for the next couple of months.
Well, we were talking about it beforehand, and I seem to remember Adrian Morley managed to play an entire 80 minutes.
That's right. Well, he's here now. He's got to deliver.
Here is Kyle Amor now. So the Barrow Raiders set back. They started the more promising, really. They had the early possession.
And you can see how strong Kyle Amor looks. He's done a pre-season with Leeds, and some of his teammates really do need to look at his plays. Graham Mattison's one of those people, the hooker. Anytime there's a quick play of the ball, he'll be off.
Here's Spencer Miller now. He's not 100% fit, like his brother Dexter, who's unavailable for this evening. Both of them have had tonsillitis, and Spencer Miller's still getting over that.
Yeah,
there he is, the Scottish international.
It's a derby game, Bill.
Well, you dispute that. Given that there's 40-odd, 50-odd miles between these two towns.
It's another great kick.
And it's a good chase as well. When is a derby not a derby?
Well, was that Howard Hill? He wouldn't let Gary Broadbent go to ground. He knew exactly where he was. He's done all the hard work. Broadbent got the ball. He's trying to get over. He's run straight into Jackson, straight into Howard Hill. Excellent kick. Exciting stuff from this Whitehaven side. Gary Broadbent tries everything. He runs as hard as he can, just dominated by Howard Hill.
At 35 years of age, Howard Hill still packs a punch, and that's earned
35 years of age. Wow.
Yeah, he made his Oldham debut in 1994, a Super League player then. Something in the air around here. Here's Kyle Amor.
On your line.
Leroy Joe's similar age. Here's Carl Rudd. Crowd lifting just for a moment as they sensed another try. Here is Leroy Joe. McNally, little kick into that soggy corner. It's a great one. Oh, just knocked on. Calvert couldn't quite get there.
Calvert, he puts his left arm out. He tries to pull it back in. You can see there he nearly drowned. This is where Whitehaven need to be strong.
And clean, no penalty.
That's where all the water has ended up after they've cleared the pitch, down in that corner of the ground. Hope you brought your water wings. Henderson. Just a bit of a warning a moment ago. Well, then the knock on. Just going to say, we just saw a first flash of pace from Jermaine McGilvray, but then Barrow go and block the copybook again.
Whitehaven's defence, you can see Jamie Rooney, he has a little look up. The Whitehaven defence are getting off the line really quick, putting a lot of pressure.
Well, to be fair, he's dropped that call.
Yep, he's looked up in front of him though first before he caught that ball.
Oh, Leroy Joe nearly went without that. A little gasp from the crowd down below us on the popular side here.
Move! Come on, Andrew! Go!
Blackwood it was with the tackle. Now here goes Scott McAvoy.
Move!
Whitehaven 6-0 up here. Howard Hill seeing plenty of the ball.
Three. Move! Hold. Yeah, hold on,
Hill. Leroy Joe now. Short pass from him to Richard Farrer, a good 23-year-old amateur player who's come into the side. Carl Edmondson, of course, back in New Zealand now. A little chip kick ahead. It's a good kick, and McGilvray has to defuse that. That was a great kick into the corner, and again, it's just holding up on this very boggy part of the field.
Wonderful kick. The winger did all he can to defend that. They've decided to kick early on the tackle as well, so they're pretty confident.
There is Jermaine McGilvray, former Huddersfield and Batley flyer, who we saw scoring a try on Sky Sports last season in the Bulldogs' colours. Real pace. Not so sure this is a pitch for the Flyers, though.
Whitehaven seems to have been under pressure. You can go back 6 or 7 minutes ago when they give the penalty away, which led to the try and then led to the field position. They're playing really direct. They're playing in the middle of the park. The big forwards are taking it to Barrow, and they just can't control the speed of which Whitehaven are playing this game.
Forced 3 goal line dropouts already then, have Haven. The Barrow Raiders having to soak up a bit of pressure. They haven't, the champions of 2009, haven't really hit their straps this season yet.
And you can see Mattison there, he's just pointing at the ruck saying, just take us forward, take us forward.
Well, they're going forward now with Hill once more. 4 tackles gone as they bring him to ground in the corner. Leroy Joe for Amor spinning out of the tackle, or trying to. Matt James all over his back. That's the 5th. Will it be another little Carl Rudd grubber? This time he hoists it, and they're going to put the pressure on Ballard, and Ballard will try and get out of trouble. And he jumped from the field of play, says Robert Hicks, and that's satisfactory for the coach, Jed Stokes.
That's exactly what it is, Bill. He'll be sitting back and looking at his playmakers putting these kicks in, teasing, forcing the Barrow defence back in the in goal. That's wonderful. You know you're in control when your kickers are doing this. And this is the 4th repeat set in this half.
They're keeping the pressure on. And Kyle Amor, it's hard to believe that this guy was once a winger. Kyle Amor, winger or a centre was he? Now he's a great big prop. Good God.
Bill, I once played winger.
Under 11.
Once. It was actually under 11.
And they said no more. Here's Whitehaven on the attack, and Eelbeck just forced into touch there, just ran out of room, the winger.
Barrow really do need to control this ball. Good play by McGillivray. They need to get through this set of 6, don't they? They've done an awful lot of defence. It's really hard on the legs. The pitch is heavy. They've got to make sure they get to the kick.
Don't want to sound too critical, but you're right. But that, for a team that needs to score points, that's a mistake. That's a bad mistake to make.
There is Steve McCormack.
Who's the ref referring to there? If you want to get kinky.
Pass. Oh, there was a hand in from, I think, Spencer Miller.
Hang on, they got me on tight.
It's probably an official RFL refereeing term.
Some scrum move. This is a bit sloppy now. They run into touch and they've given away a penalty, and they're going to allow Barrow to come down the field without much effort. This is not what you want to do, needless to say, but especially when you're a team that's conceded so many points in your recent games.
They've had a lot of pressure on that Barrow line, but they've got just the one try to show for it. Scored by Carl Rudd.
But it's about building pressure over the 80 minutes. It doesn't matter about playing down there and not coming away. It's about taking energy out of this Barrow side.
Oh, Martin Osler felt that.
There he is. Big Kyle Amor. Have a piece of that.
Barrow willing to give this ball a bit of width, but another good defence.
Here we go. There you go. Get that into you.
Although Scott McAvoy, as a result of that tackle, is down on the ground, and I think he got a whack as he went in to make that heavy tackle. And ironically, Zeb Luisi got to his feet and played the ball. It was Scott McAvoy who's been left on the ground having treatment. He's got a bang on the side of the head. As play continues, McAvoy is out of action. Noon in possession, and they'll get the try. Ballard in the corner. Blackwood unselfishly just shifting it on. I think Blackwood could have gone in himself.
It's cost them about 10 metres on the kick.
McAvoy, meanwhile, is leaving the field as Ballard celebrates his 6th try of the season. And crucially, it was while McAvoy was down on the ground. And ironically, he'd made the big tackle on Luisi, but it was Luisi who was up on his feet playing the ball. And there it ended with Ballard getting the try.
And here's the penalty. Spencer Miller ripping the ball from Anthony Blackwood. Relieves all that pressure. James Coyle just faked the kick. You can see Zeb Luisi cuts a real good line. Quick hands by Paul Noon. And all that pressure that Whitehaven have put under this Barrow side. They have one opportunity and they take it. You can see the amount of players pushing up in support. Oh, you're right. Ballard goes in for the try.
And a huge error, Terry, from the Whitehaven defence. They're a man down. You've got to be conscious of your surroundings. The centre's gone. He's off injured. He's out of the play. Why fly out and put pressure on the kicker? Then you're taking 2 men out of your defensive line on that side. Coyle saw that, flicked the ball wide, score a try in the corner. Naive defending, I would say.
And that'll be satisfying for Raiders coach Steve McCormack, having he's seen his side weather a pretty heavy battering on their own try line, 4 goal line dropouts, and then to come up the other end of the field and respond with that try. Rooney probably thinking that they could have done him a bit of a favour by getting it nearer the posts, but coach having faith in a man who's kicked 36 goals already this season, the faith misplaced on this occasion. 6-4 the scoreline.
Let's see Whitehaven's response to this. They ran into touch, gave away a penalty, allowed Barrow down the field, gave away another penalty. Bad call in defence. As we see James Coyle, he watched the man shoot out to put pressure on, but you're already a man down there. Luisi just puts it through the hands. Blackwood really could have maybe gone himself, made it a little bit easier for the kicker, subsequently missed on that.
Ballard, who moved from Oldham last year when Steve Deakin was briefly in charge and made such an impact at the Barrow Raiders and brought so many of the Oldham crew with him, many of whom are still here, and contributed mightily to Barrow Raiders' championship season. What a season it was as well, getting to that Northern Rail final. But Whitehaven with problems, a really promising start, but Scott McAvoy off the field. In fact, McAvoy has been replaced by young Reece Fox, 21 years of age. And there is the injured player. Long kick downfield. Well, this is the injury. There's Luisi with the run.
You can see he just puts his head on the wrong side of that tackle. Zed Luisi accidentally kneed him in the head. Marbles will be loose for a bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look as though there's anything structural, hopefully, in terms of damage. He's got a bad knock.
Well, structural, a real bad headache.
So Haven in possession. Mark Jackson on the field to lend some oomph. And the kick from Rudd. This time it does skip away over the surface.
Just too much weight on that kick. But you'll need your senior players. You know you've had all the pressure in this first half. Mark Jackson, the man in your picture at first marker, he'll be sent on as like the calming influence. Don't worry, just let's get through the game. Don't put ourselves under pressure, don't give penalties away.
Gary Broadbent. Long-serving Barrow Raiders captain. Well, long-serving in terms of time in the game. Another one who made his debut back in 1994 as a witness player. And after all that time, he won his first medal, first significant medal, last year in the grand final when the Barrow Raiders beat Halifax. The words on Scott McAvoy's got a bang in the mouth, though a bit of blood, a bit shaken up, but he should be able to return as Rooney thumps the kick downfield, and that end of the field comparatively dry. So the ball's skipping away.
Yeah, that's a disappointing kick from a player like Jamie Rooney. He's usually able to produce something a bit better than that.
Of course, no James Nixon in this Barrow Raiders lineup. They've lost their flyer. Broke his arm. First game of the championship season. That game against the Lee Centurions, live on Sky Sports, and out for several more weeks as Whitehaven get the penalty.
I like Graham Madison's work out of dummy half. Like you said, Terry, he picks his runs, brings his forwards into play when he needs to, but he's really speeding the game up.
Andy Braycheck high.
Andy Braycheck high on Kyle Amo. Clash of the Titans in the middle of the park.
And the penalty pushes Barrow back towards their own try line. Howard Hill once more still out there, but stopped in his tracks. Liam Harrison in there with the tackle. Here is Mark Jackson now, winds himself up for a charge at the Barrow ranks. Martin Osler with the tackle. He had a wretched season last year, hoping for better things. Missed the grand final. 3 tackles gone, and Whitehaven in the shadows of those posts. The ball reaches Rudd. A little pirouette from the number 6. 4 tackles gone. The ball goes over the head of Kyle Amor. McNally with a little chip kick into the arms of Calvert. Calvert thought about going round the outside, took one look at the ground. Oh! And McNally very nearly did. Aquaplane into the corner.
That's naive play. That's poor play. That's poor play. In that weather, in those conditions, he knows what it's like to try and take somebody on the outside in those conditions. I mean, he's got to try and beat 2 people in 5 meters of space on wet ground. Jed Stokes will be very, very disappointed with that decision from a halfback as well.
Relax. Ball in.
The kit man will be pretty disappointed as well when he gets these shirts.
That's one. Move! 10 meters! 10! Go!
There was some suggestion that the Barrow Raiders were going to wear a new away kit today, which was going to be all white. Oh, good. Yeah, that wouldn't have been a popular move.
Hold! Go!
Well, Howard Hill has earned a breather. Gorski is on in his place.
3. Move!
6-4 the scoreline here at the recreation ground in the first of a busy weekend of games on Sky Sports. Leeds against the Bradford Bulls to come later on this evening.
Spencer Miller not helping his teammates at all, just lying on too long on Andy Braycheck. Every time he gets the ball, he seems to land on his front Braycheck. He's big, he's strong in the collision, but Spencer Miller needs to be a bit more composed when he's defending.
Just listen to the move.
Rooney, a direct hit on the commentary box. 2 penalties apiece. And then Noon, one of his first touches, if not his first touch, or lack of touch.
Wanting to get his hands on the ball. Simple little catch. Got to stick your hands up. He sticks his hands up, acknowledges he made the mistake. He needs some help from his teammates here to defend this set.
Greg McAnally will be relieved with that. The whole Whitehaven team, but Greg McAnally in particular.
Really tight first half an hour, first 25 minutes here. Whitehaven taking the lead with that early try from Rudd. And then Ballard pegging them back. Here's Kyle Amor now. Former printer who decided, and a bit of a late developer, Kyle Amor. He's had a good job, a local printing company, but he took the chance with the Leeds Rhinos, and still very much in the picture there, but released to play for his hometown club.
Not a bad decision as well to back himself.
That looked like a high shot from Noon. Mark Jackson didn't appreciate it. Just looking around to see who it was. Bit of a wrestle on the ground. Rudd, crossfield kick is a good one. McNally trying to get there, and good work to get it out of jail, but Campbell couldn't get all the way. And another goal line dropout it'll be.
Liam Campbell has just come off the bench. Give Barrow a real big lift when he come on off the substitutes bench last week.
That's a great kick.
Good pick-up, but good pick-up as well. Good chase, enthusiastic chase by Whitehaven.
And a good set from Whitehaven, finished off by a great kick.
Get up a bit cleaner.
Yeah, Liam Campbell did make an impact. He got a hat-trick in 16 minutes against Toulouse last week in that one-sided second half. 16 all it was in Toulouse at half-time. And Barrow Raiders scoring 32 unanswered second half points to really ram home the victory. But it's Whitehaven in the ascendancy at the moment, with Mick Gobbin. He's just joined the action. Miller wading through the mud in that corner of the ground. Long ball from Gobbin into the middle of the field. That's the 5th tackle. Mattinson now. Mattinson goes on his own. What a pick-up from Broadbent. Off his toes, under pressure.
And positional sense from him. He doesn't fear anything, Gary Broadbent. But again, danger from Mattinson. Kick from Mattinson. What about the pick-up in these conditions? But just watch from Mattinson. Every time he goes to the dummy half, he's looking at exploiting the retreating defence.
I wonder, did he see something we didn't see? He seemed to kick it straight to the area the fullback was defending. I think he was hoping for a lot to come away with a score there, and I think that the guys outside of him have every right to be a bit disappointed with his decision.
Rooney with the kick on the last tackle. Not a particularly deep one.
I'm not sure on letting that ball bounce though. Not in these conditions.
It's Ian Moore who brought it back. McNally. Kyle Amor now. 3 tackles gone. Whitehaven on that 40-metre line. There goes Mattinson again, another darting run. Noon gets a hold of him and wrestles him to the ground. But progress made from Whitehaven, another 10 metres gained. Rudd, kick over the top, looking for a chase for Eelbeck maybe, but Broadbent back there to claim the ball. And Rudd there leading the chase.
And again, that man Gary Broadbent, he's not feared of anything. Positional sense, where he is on the park. But Whitehaven, this is where they really do look to turn the screw in defence.
Ballard. Noon's pass, a short one, inviting the winger to run. Braycheck now. Coming up to half an hour gone, and Braycheck still out there. Started the game, he's lost that ball. He's furious with himself, the Welsh international.
Well, he done everything correct. He got the ball, he tucked it under his arm, he run as hard as he could into the Whitehaven defence, wanting to win that tackle, get down, play the ball as quick as he could.
Don't do that, please.
You can see, just didn't have control over that ball. He's absolutely furious with himself.
I think he was trying to put the ball down before he regained his feet as well, Terry. I think he might have given a penalty away even if he hadn't knocked it on.
That's one. Move!
There's Eelbeck.
Hold.
I wonder if Andy Braycheck is going to get a breather soon, because it looks as though Brett McDermott is waiting on the sidelines to come on. Meanwhile, Whitehaven in possession. And here is big Richard Farrer, this former Egremont player, who they're looking to fill the boots of Kyle Edmonds, and those are big boots to fill. The popular Kiwi going back to commence his career with the police force at home in New Zealand has left Whitehaven. He's left a big hole.
I wonder if they told him he had to have the same haircut as Carl Edmondson.
It's compulsory for Whitehaven forwards. The kicker, another good one. Oh, well taken. Ballard swooping on that like a slip fielder.
That was fantastic play by Andy Ballard. You can see it comes from nowhere, speed to burn Ballard. He made sure there was only one winner in that contest then.
With the risk of getting hurt as well, Terry. He could have come off badly there. It was a great decision by him, a brave decision by the winger.
Well, bad news for Whitehaven, because it's emerging from the sidelines that there was some structural damage for Scott McAvoy in that earlier tackle. It looks as though he might have a broken jaw, and that is a setback for a Whitehaven side that's already getting through the numbers. Jed Stokes, I think, has used something like 30 players already this season in all competitions because of the injury problems they've had, and they've got another one now.
He will be a massive loss to this Whitehaven side. Big, powerful centre.
Move! Go.
Calvert plays the ball. Yeah, McDermott has come on to replace Braycheck. Andy Braycheck getting a rest as Spencer Miller was a victim of a high tackle there. And it was a high tackle from Liam Campbell.
Absolutely. Right decision by the referee. Campbell will be very disappointed with what he's done to his teammates there.
Hold here then. Hold that, hold.
So another penalty.
One. Move! Go. Two.
Whitehaven in possession and
Hold.
blow the injury to McAvoy if it is confirmed, that broken jaw. Farrer. This was the unfortunate incident as he went in on Zeb Luisi and just caught a strained knee. Meanwhile, play continues with Whitehaven on the attack. That's a good run from Gorski. Fresh legs off the bench, and I think there's going to be a little word from the referee, and James Coyle might be called out for another high tackle.
Swinging off his neck here, Bill, trying to get him down, using his neck as a lever.
On the head, and to bring him to the ground, he just yanked his head to the floor. That's two on his own.
And Robert Hicks laying down the law, because that's, as he pointed out there, is back-to-back tackles like that.
The grapple tackle, James Coyle trying to get him down to the ground.
Gary, you know better than to challenge me on things like that. If you want to talk constructive, I'll look for them, but that's all.
There you go. The big warning by Robert Hicks. And that's what you get. You get rewarded if you run straight, you run hard. You either play the ball quick or something will come off. On that occasion, they get the penalty right underneath the sticks.
So Rudd, just to extend the Whitehaven lead, which he does. Another precious 2 points, and on the evidence of what we've seen so far, it looks as though it's going to be a tight, low-scoring game. The sun might be shining here at the recreation ground in West Cumbria, but it's a very boggy field, heavy going. And Jed Stokes knows that his side are really going to have to dig this victory out.
And all the hard work, the first penalty from Campbell, then from James Coyle, all the hard work you do with the ball, getting past the halfway, get into the kick, a real good kick chase, when you give them penalties away, it relieves all that pressure.
8-4 the scoreline then in Whitehaven's favour with just about 5 minutes to go to the half-time hooter. And here's Farah. Spencer Miller. Reece Fox now. Burly player coming off the bench, the son of the former Whitehaven second rower, Vince Fox. Now Mick Govin. Govin, who was at Halifax last year, trying to get Calvert free, but Calvert going to ground just on the halfway line. And Calvert's lost that ball. Touch judge right on the spot says there was a knock-on. And Calvert disputing that just at the bottom of the picture there, says the ball was stolen.
Well, you can see, Andy Ballard's just a little roll pushed out of his hands.
And that was right under the nose of the touch judge.
Sneaky little play by Ballard.
You can see what Whitehaven are trying to do when they've got the ball. They're targeting Campbell down this side. He's defending 3 in. There's an argument to push Campbell, or to bring him back out a bit, get him to defend 2 in, save him a bit of the tackling and save a bit of the big fellas running at him.
So an opportunity in the closing minutes of this first half for the Barrow Raiders to test the Whitehaven defence. And really, since Ballard scored that try, Barrow have hardly been up this end of the field to test the Whitehaven defence. But Steve McCormack urging his players on just in the closing minutes of the first half here. They could conceivably get their noses in front. Here goes Coyle. That's the 5th tackle though. Coyle not making any progress there. Jackson with the tackle. Crossfield kick. Ballard is after this, but taken by Calvert. Nice step from Calvert, but couldn't get away from the follow-up tackle. The ball's come loose, and it's a penalty. There were 2 in the tackle, says the referee.
What about the take from Calvert though? He knew he was under pressure by Ballard. You can see that Ballard thinks that it's a one-on-one with Calvert. Good take by Calvert. Looks to play straight away. Ballard's going for that steal. Noon joins the tackle.
That's it, and Ballard unaware that Noon had in fact joined in. Correct decision by the referee. Unfortunate for Ballard, but you can't blame Noon for coming in to try and finish it off as well.
Govin. Big hit.
Zeb Luisi.
Luisi and Farah just gets to his feet. Shrug of the shoulders and gets on with it.
And now we see Campbell's gone through it.
Luisi knows that they've got to control the big go forward from this Whitehaven pack.
Govin with the break. It's a good break. And then a little ankle tap. It was Blackwood who just managed to get a hold of a disappearing boot. But here goes McNally. McNally taking him on. The pass from McNally on the inside with Reece Fox, and the ball splats into the mud.
He blew it, Fox. He had Calvert on the outside before he went into that tackle with Campbell. He would have been away, he would have scored a certain try.
Couple of minutes.
But the run from Govin to set up this field position went straight through Brett McDermott and Paul Noon, left them on the floor. Look at this, bang.
Let's have a look at it, mate.
Tough each other on the head. Govin goes through. Doesn't panic.
Referee stopped the clock for somebody with a blood problem, I think it is. It's Brett McDermott.
The Hooters burst.
Well, he's come better off.
You need somebody else.
The old clash of heads with his teammate Paul Noon.
There's a couple of minutes time.
So McDermott just
come in the
retreats
scrum, Liam. Well, someone needs to come in the scrum.
into the
He's on the field.
his own in-goal area.
He's on the field.
And play will have to continue, says the referee. McDermott is still on the field. He's getting treated just under his own posts there. Campbell plays the ball. Here's Liam Harrison now.
He'll want to make sure he's okay for next week. Brett McDermott, I think he's in a beauty contest.
Matt James struggling to make progress there. Grimace for the from the former Bradford and Halifax man. And briefly Harlequins. Offside, or not square in fact, says referee Robert Hicks.
Come here.
Mark Jackson just trying to slow things down as Jamie Rooney was looking to take that penalty quickly.
Now Whitehaven got to defend this. One last set, I think, in this half. Jed Stokes will be looking for a shutout here.
Okay. Come on, Rob, I told you then.
The penalty takes the Barrow Raiders into Whitehaven territory. About 30 metres out. Michael Knowles looking to offload that ball. It's not a day for that. Knowles didn't like the tackle from Mattinson. Here is Harrison now. Rooney. Coyle now. Harrison demanding a quick play the ball, so Rooney puts a little grubber kick in. Oh, player taken out there, and there is a player, it's Liam Campbell, who is down on the ground, and he was blatantly body checked.
Straight away, looks in a bit of pain as well, Liam Campbell.
Why would you do that? Why would you do this? In front of your sticks, 20 seconds to go.
And again, was it Spencer Miller? Spencer Miller again. He's given 3, maybe 4 penalties away. They've only given 5 away. You can see he comes in, he checks him, dips his shoulder straight into Campbell. Took the wind out of his sails there.
Did Barrow even have a runner for that kick?
Spencer Miller is the man called over.
Come a kick. He's body checked him off the ball. It's a penalty. It's just a body check, but it's a penalty.
Referee saying it was just a body check. Well, it was one heck of a body
well,
check.
He didn't have the ball when you did it.
Body check, mate.
I can't understand this decision. There's no. I backed the Whitehaven defence to deal with that kick. To give away a penalty with 4 seconds left on the clock, Jed Stokes will be fuming.
I tell you, when Jed Stokes fumes, it's a sight worth seeing.
Well, I think we get a camera shot now. You'll see it. That's him fuming.
The combustible Kiwi is about to combust, I suspect. Because it's given Rooney the opportunity to finish off this first half with a couple of points.
And Whitehaven were quite lucky then, because Blackwood and Ballard on the right-hand side for Barrow were waving their arms. They wanted to kick in the corner because all the Whitehaven team had pushed in. Spencer Miller was the one who pushed in that bit too hard, give the penalty away.
You spoke at the start, Terry, about wanting to defend. A decision like that in defence doesn't indicate people that want to defend.
Rooney succeeds, the flags go up, and the Barrow Raiders get 2 precious points at the end of a very tight half. Conditions not great, a lot at stake here between these 2 rivals from West Cumbria.